Okay, we're going to be we're going to be doing a video on replacing the glass on the iPhone 4S. You also will have to replace the LCD because it's glued together. This is an iPhone 4S. Let me prove it. Siri doesn't come on the iPhone 4. So that's Siri. Don't know if you can see it. Camera struggling there. So there's the 4S. It's also a 32 gig. I don't need to prove that. It's not a big deal. It's a 32 gig. Okay. But my motto is you shouldn't fix it if it's not broken. So we're gonna have to bring the butcher knife. Butcher knife versus iPhone 4S. Let's see what happens. Handle first. Wow, that Gorilla Glass is holding up a little bit, eh? How about the metal side? Nope. Miniature samurai sword. I'm not hitting it too hard, but I didn't think it'd take this. Wow, not a scratch on the screen. Get to the back with the handle. It's taking it. It's taking it. A spoon. Yeah, I guess it's handling some Gorilla Glass. Let's chop that up. Oh, there we go. We got some cracking in the corner there. Just give it a little more for good measure there. There we go. Obviously it still works, but it's cracked. Now we have to fix it. So now I can justify fixing it. Okay, today we're going to be repairing the iPhone 4S. I'm going to be changing the glass, as you can see. First I'm going to go over the tools you'll need. You'll need a pentalobe screwdriver. It's specific for the iPhone 4 and 4S screws at the bottom. A small Phillips. An opening tool, case opening tool. It could be metal or plastic, whatever you're comfortable with. And of course the replacement screen. This is an iPhone 4S glass, digitizer, and LCD in one, all in one. Okay. The other thing I would recommend, you don't need it, but I would say you need it, is something to put the screwdrivers, the screws separately. Okay, because you're gonna have a bunch of different screws in there. So something to separate parts. And a blow dryer or a heat gun will help. I'm not at my shop, so I'm improvising with what I have at home. So we're going to get started right away. First thing we're going to do is remove the bottom screws with that screwdriver, the special pentalobe. Some iPhones don't require it. This one does. Okay, so I'm going to put those screws in a compartment. So then you turn it upside down and you slide the battery door up. You slide it up and then you pull it off the board, off the frame. It should come off pretty easily, nothing to it. That's your back door. Okay, once you're in here, the first thing that comes off is the battery. Also, you don't have to, I've never had any damage done to it, but I would advise to be on the safe side, shut the phone off first before you proceed here. Make sure it's fully shut off, and then you take the battery out. To take the battery in the 4S is different. There's two screws holding it in, the connector, so 1 and 2. Now, the other thing I'm going to bring attention to right away, there's a little piece underneath this top screw. Okay, that's easy to lose and easy to forget how it goes. Remember, make a point of remembering how it goes and not losing that piece. get those screws off. Put them in a compartment where you'll know which to remember. Take your opening tool and gently pry up the pry that up, and as you see, this piece went flying. So you can see what it looks like. It's just a little piece, and it's actually important. You don't want to not put it in, so keep it in sight. But here's a connector for the battery. Once you have that off, there's this tab here. You pull on it to get the battery off. Now this one came off easy. If it's really, sometimes it's really stuck. Take the opening tool and put it behind this side, not too high and not too low, because if you go too high you might break the ribbon for the volume button, and pry from this side first. I don't need to do it in my case, but if you have to, then try to go around the battery carefully. Like I said though, be careful you're not pulling any ribbon with it. When you pull this up, only the battery should come out. So that's the battery. Now we'll proceed by removing this metal plate up here. And there's, on the side, there's a big screw. Okay, and the other ones are all smaller. They're very small, except for this long one at the top. So make a point of remembering where you put your screws. Okay. Now that plate should come off right away. To be on the safe side, I'll also take this screw out here. It is different on the inside than the iPhone 4, okay? Not much different, but it is. With your case opener tool, pry up this metal plate. And don't make the stupid mistake of forgetting one screw like I just did. Not a big deal, but it won't come off that nicely. Then it'll come out really easy. Okay. Next, we'll remove this that holds down the flex cable for the charger port, home button, and microphone. It's just a plate with 2 screws in it. Keep them together because those screws are specific. A lot of small parts. I misplaced one of those screws laying there, so I'm gonna put this one upside down. There it is. Now you pop up the connector underneath. And it is a little bit glued down, so be gentle with it. And move it over to the side like that. Then pop off the antenna connector here. Okay. Get it out of the groove there. Now we're going to remove this screw. The bottom, this is holding the motherboard in. Another motherboard screw right here. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think there's another one in there, connectors that you're going to lift off. One is the camera. Just pop the camera right off. Then we got one for the power button. There's one for the power button, one for the volume button. Okay. Just lift them off. One underneath here. Very carefully you don't push any. Okay, so we remove the connectors. Next we're going to remove this little black piece here. It lifts up. Make a point of remembering how it goes. It's important. Okay, then we're going to remove this little screw here in the corner. Okay, so get it right out. And then you're gonna unplug this little antenna here. Lift it right off. This part here is actually like two-way taped to the headphone jack. Just lift it up. Careful with it, and also make a point of remembering how it goes. Now, a couple more screws to go. These screws here holding down the speaker assembly. Remove them both. Then lift this thing right out. This comes right out. Okay? Make sure you don't lose the screws in the process. Very simple. Okay, now we're getting to the nitty-gritty here. I'm going to take the SIM card out. Worked perfect. Take out the tray. Now the motherboard should come right out. Should. Make sure you're not missing a screw. Wow. Which I am. In my case, I can use my case opener tool. Most of the time you will need a flathead screwdriver, which I might have. Oh, I should have. But I actually don't, like I said, I'm not at my shop, so I'm pretty limited to my tools here at home. I don't do any repairs at home, except videos. Okay, so take this chunky, it's a weird screw, okay? But don't lose it, it's really important. Then you grab the motherboard. Oh, see? It's a newer phone, I don't have much experience with it, but there's another one of those weird screws here up top. Loosen that up, take it out. A flathead screwdriver would work perfectly. I'm really annoyed that I don't have one here. Maybe even a bigger Phillips. So don't lose those. One's bigger than the other, so remember which one goes where. Now, the motherboard should come out now. There is one little ribbon here. It's like tape, really. Very carefully lift that off. Very carefully, because you're going to put it back on when we're putting it back together. Everything you take off, you're going to put back on. There's one more screw. Look, we're learning. At least you see me do the mistakes. Now there's no excuse for you to do the mistakes, okay? There's more screws with this one than the other one. There's the motherboard. Okay, very simple. Put the motherboard aside very gently. It's the main part of the phone. Okay, now we're gonna get the screen off this thing. There's 4 screws in the corners, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Gotta get those out. These are very specific. Do not lose these, put them together in their own little compartment. Man, they like to cover them up in this version of the iPhone, don't they?